Did you know that 90% of the world's millionaires invest in real estate? Well, I'm Angel with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and I'm here to help you if you want to go for your piece of that pie. Frank is here. I actually got to meet Frank at BEC this past February, and he's got a couple of things going on. Today, he's going to be talking about his virtual assistant services company, but he also, if you check out his shirt there with the CashFlow Kings, he is an active real estate investor as well. So I will have him back on to talk about that side of things. But today we are going to be looking at virtual assistants and some of the services his company offers and ways that you can reach out to him if you are looking for a VA and looking for VA services. So Frank, if you want to start us off by telling us a little bit about you and about your company, that would be awesome.
My name is Frank. I was a school teacher for about 17 years. And let's see, you're going to see me twice on the pictures here. Try to pin just the one on my face. That might help you. I've been doing real estate for about 10 years, been buying some smaller multis and got to the point where we owned enough that I left my full-time job. And now I hang out most of the time. I buy flips, I buy some syndication stuff. Our biggest syndication that I was a GP on, we did one in Idaho, and we did one in Texas. I'm also an LP on a bunch of deals. A few other things, we have this, the CashFlow Kings, we have a podcast, and then Real Agent Helper is our virtual assistant business, which is basically my buddy Pedro and I, we started a way to help other people. Pedro's been using virtual assistants for about 8 years.
Wow.
And what happened was that he said, hey, is there a way to monetize this a little bit? And I said, well, instead of monetizing it, why don't we do something a little more important and help others? So we actually haven't taken any money out of the company, but we've just been letting it grow and going from there. You're losing money, basically, if you don't have a virtual assistant. Angel, we've talked about this. The question is not, can I afford a VA? The question is, how am I surviving without one?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're trying to 10X on your own, you're kind of screwing yourself because it's a lot of work to try and do it on your own when you don't have to.
So there's probably a bunch of people that have read the 4-Hour Workweek, and that's a great book, and it talks about virtual assistants in that book as well. That's actually where I came up with the idea of actually using virtual assistants. When you think about it, especially in real estate, do you own a job or do you own your own business? So business owners, they work on their business. Self-employed people often work in their business. So the only way to scale yourself up is to find and keep some competent talent that can help you delegate. You got to delegate those tasks to them. It transforms that whole experience of you doing the work. Think about how the work gets done and improving those processes. So we all know that you can do plenty of this work that virtual assistants do. And basically, you're giving yourself a $10 an hour job. And we know that you're worth more than that. Okay, come on, think about it. You can go work at Walmart and make much more money than that. Some people consider it like strategic work versus physical work. That's one way to look at it. Maybe some of you guys like doing physical work every single day. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to grow your business, you have to start doing more and more of that systems approach and intellectual.
Yeah, one of the things I've been doing recently is I've been reading the 12-week year, and it talks a lot about like having your strategic block and using that, and then like having those buffer blocks for those kind of menial tasks. And I started thinking about, I could use those buffer blocks to do stuff I like to do, like watch Food Network, and hire somebody else to call and make appointments for my kids, or call and make sure that I can get things done, like setting appointments for myself or for others, and arranging who my speakers are going to be, and like maintaining the funnels and all that good stuff, and making sure that my content is getting posted where it needs to get posted. Because that is like the amount of time that takes is just mind boggling sometimes.
Definitely. No complaints from me. We see it every single day. I'm actually going to give some examples in a little bit of some of my friends that are using our virtual assistants. So that'll help too. Basically, as we talk about this, we're going to remove yourself from those mundane administrative tasks that you do for your business every day, whether it's making phone calls or basic social media or checking emails, all that, and focus your time on actually growing your sales or your business. So 3 definitions to think about. First one is called absolute advantage. Okay, that refers to your ability to produce more goods and services than anybody else. Another concept to think about is comparative advantage. And it's
I love
basically,
the econ. Sorry.
you love economics?
My master's is in economics.
Oh, perfect. Yes, this is exactly what it is. You already know this. So comparative advantage is just you doing the work versus how well and how much you're paying someone else to do the same work. And then finally, the big one that you're going to love is opportunity cost. And that's how much you're missing out on doing alternatives. Okay, opportunity costs are not just things that you're making a choice like spend time in your business or spend time with like your family, but it's also if you had to work on this, how many other deals you're missing out, etc. So why you need a virtual assistant. So back to that absolute advantage. We all know that almost everybody that's watching this is superior at one aspect or one ability in real estate. It's not just about real estate, but we focus a lot with real estate people. Think about it. Answering calls, handling online chat, setting up appointments. Those are all big things that many other people can do for you. So comparative advantage. If, say we have Angel, the real estate syndicator, and then we have Maria, her virtual assistant. Okay. So Angel could easily make all those phone calls. And I mean, if you have a secretary or administrative assistant, you might be paying them $35 an hour full time, counting benefits and everything else. Or if Angel does it herself, she's like, oh yeah, I want to save all that money. But you can have a qualified virtual assistant working for you full time, doing that for less than $10 an hour. You know? So with that opportunity cost, I mean, it's not just you saving $35 an hour or even saving $25 an hour. It's your time, which you, as you know, can never get back. You can get, it's a lot easier to get tons more money, but to get tons more time, that's virtually impossible. You know, you can't make up that time you've already spent. So think about the concept of leverage. When you think of like physics, I know this is not Angel, this is not economics, but in physics, think about the difference between you picking up 2 boxes versus using some kind of dolly or cart or forklift or anything. Okay, you have a big difference in leverage. So I know I've worked hard myself, cleaning my own yard a few times, and I changed my mind on doing that. I decided to pay someone to do it. Same thing with virtual assistants. If you think of like a fulcrum, or if you go to like a little children's park, and what do you call that, Angel? What do you call that thing? It's you got in the middle, and then you got on one side or the other.
Like a teeter-totter or a seesaw?
Exactly, seesaw. So think about the amount of work you have on one, and then on the other side, think about how you're trying to push all that work down by yourself. But with leverage, you know, you got a few virtual assistants helping you. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, actually, I had someone give me a similar example to that. It was one of my classes. I had a professor who was like, so you've got this absolute elite athlete, NBA superstar. They can probably mow their yard more efficiently than any company they could hire because they have that kind of physical prowess. But if they step in a hole while they're mowing their yard and sprain their ankle and can't play in a couple of games, what have they given up? So even though they're probably better at mowing their own yard because of just pure physical ability, it doesn't make sense for them to do so because they're going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars because they can't play in those games versus hiring someone for 50 to 100 to take care of the yard for them. So it's a similar kind of situation.
So yeah, going with that, I mean, business ownership is a team sport. Too many people, including myself for many years, was doing all of this by myself. Okay, I know people that do real estate that hammer every nail in by themselves. And if they want to do that, more power to them. But when you build systems, you get to the point where you have property management, you have contractors doing a lot of the work, and this is just one more step. This is adding someone that can do a lot of the basic administrative talent right there for you. Okay, so instead of it's you being by yourself, it's like having a whole team behind you.
So, quick question.
Sure.
So, if someone uses your company, now, can you guarantee, I'm sorry, I'm kind of crazy here. The VAs that work for certain individuals, do they only work for those individuals, or do they work for different people as well?
So every company might be a little different, but for us, usually you're with one person. Yeah. So you're the client, and then our virtual assistant is basically tied to you for as long as you want them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's different than, like, you have some competing websites and other things that you have an assistant that you might pay them to do certain jobs, but then they're doing jobs for other people at once. The difference is that when you hire our company, we have one person assigned to you, and that's the main job they do, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I've talked to some other people, and Carrie was on here a couple of weeks ago, and she said that like their virtual assistant is their virtual assistant.
Yep.
But I've heard of other people that they've got someone that picks up another 20-hour-a-week job to try and supplement with pay. And so they may offer a little bit more per hour to try and attract someone that's going to work just with them. But I just, burnout is a very real thing for
Absolutely.
everyone. And I would be afraid to hire someone and then find out later on they're pulling another 20 or 40 hours a week with somebody else.
So yeah, so what we do is that we hire them full time. We pay them full time. We give them a few small side jobs just for the business, just for our company, but
Okay.
we don't give them, they don't work on anybody else's tasks.
Okay.
You know, they might do, they might look up real estate agents in Wyoming and make a list and phone numbers and give us new CRMs and people to contact. But overall, that's why we charge slightly more for part-time, because we're actually giving them our own work to do on the side that we really don't need them to do, but we're trying to keep them full-time for us. And most people, they start out part-time with a virtual assistant, but I gotta be honest with you, they end up going full-time. And another reason why we do that, if we had somebody that was working part-time for two different people, 20 hours a week, think about it. Everybody does real estate a little differently. They all have different systems. So number one, the virtual assistant would have been trained by two different people. And then what happens a month from now when client number one takes them full-time, but client number two says, I just trained that person. So we try not to give virtual assistants to more than one person.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about it from that side, but that would be rough.
Yeah, we had that happen
Yeah.
once. It's like, no, never again. It's
Yeah,
not worth it.
you spend a lot of money training people and
Yes.
a lot of time and effort.
All right, so this is actually the PDF that I'm speaking off of. By the way, if I sound weird, it's because I'm actually hearing myself double the whole time, but we can handle it. But we actually had a virtual assistant make this in the last 2 or 3 days, just for this presentation.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I wanted to show you guys how easy it is. We gave them a few ideas, and we had them create something, you know. So back to the last thing. Here's a nice, cute picture of how your competitors are leveraging virtual assistants versus you going by yourself.
And sometimes it's just so hard as an individual for you to let go.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah. Okay. I'll stop then because I know
No,
how I feel about
please
it.
ask me any question you want. No, because I might forget things. Like I said, this is the first time we've ever used this presentation. So I'm actually looking for spelling mistakes. We're going, stuff like that. But it's pretty good so far.
I think it looks amazing.
So think about it when you transfer from that self-employment to business ownership, okay? I keep going back to this, thinking about owning your business versus owning another job, okay? What you have to do is you have to have a whole team of people helping you, okay? So we have a lot of property managers who are using us. So here's like an organizational chart for a property manager. We have wholesalers that use us. We have real estate agents that use us. We have just people like you and me, Angel, who are just investors that use us. But that's what a property manager would look like. So you need property manager, assistant, leasing agents, tech coordinators, maintenance team, people that do accounting, and then management admin. So if you think about it, I mean, the average virtual assistant is not going to be able to do the full property management. Okay. They're not going to be able to do the maintenance. Okay. There's certain things that you still need a person to be there for. But if you think about 1/5 of this whole chart, the admin and management, they can do most of that. And even the accounting, we have a couple people that need more and more accounting, just the accounts receivable and accounts payable. But even if you just start here, this is the main thing you really need to think about. And I'm going to go over some examples. Now, it says it right here, not all positions are going to be filled by virtual assistants.
Well, I think about the fact that, like, I forgot to reschedule the doctor's appointment for over a month because I would just forget. And then I'd call and leave a message and they'd call me back and it wasn't a good time for me to answer it.
Yeah.
So I have really bad ADHD. I had been without my meds for over a month because I missed my appointment. And then I kept forgetting to reschedule it. I finally remembered to call, like, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. But like, and I know this sounds really mundane and stupid, but I'm like, if I had a VA, my VA would have taken care of that for me.
So I'm actually going to pause right here and going to give a real life example. We have a girl, Holly. She's from Rhode Island, and she works for a property management company. Okay, so she manages like 250 units for some big company.
Nice.
But she has her own wholesaling business, which it's kind of hard to answer the phone all day long if you're working for another company. You know, so she basically hired one of our virtual assistants. His name is Ray, and he works for her Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. What's the main things he does? The main things he does is after she sends out a marketing campaign, he answers phone calls. She has a script all set for him. But if they need to dispute a credit card transaction, she's given him access in order to call and talk to them to dispute the transaction. You talk about appointments. She has had him schedule doctor's appointment. You know, she has an appointment book. She basically has a separate Google account that he has full access to, and that he helps plan into her calendar and sends out emails for her, and does all of her social media too. So every single Instagram post, they post every single day. I see that on there. So I think she's been able to set up her schedule that she works maybe more like 10 to 6, and he works 9 to 5. So from 9 to like 9:30, she can easily talk to them for half an hour and decide what they're going to do for the day. You know, and then maybe during lunch, they'll speak for like 15, 20 minutes. And they can also send emails and text messages throughout the day. A lot of our virtual assistants use Skype. And what's cool about Skype is, especially if it's two of you, it's free. You can go right to video mode pretty easily. You can send messages. You can send documents pretty easily. Everything else. That's just one example. And she's really awesome. I actually asked her, can I use this example? She said, absolutely. You know.
Well, I just see it as, like, even if that's the only thing that somebody does for me, that's a lot. Because, like, I have a special needs son, and he's got tons of therapy appointments. Like, he was going to therapy 6 times a week. With COVID, we're going 0 times a week. But I still have to stay on top of his case so they don't shut him down. Because even though we're not going due to COVID, I still have to stay on top of the insurance and make sure that all the paperwork is still going through the way it goes through to keep him active. And again, I spent the entire weekend leaving messages because I knew they were closed, but I needed to leave messages because I got letters saying, we're about to close your kids' accounts. And I was like, no. So I'm like calling all weekend long, leaving messages because I know they're closed, but I want them to get those messages so they don't shut my kids' accounts down. But Angel, it's just staying on top of that.
Everybody knows that in today's day and age, motherhood is definitely a full-time job. Not even counting the concept of having someone on the spectrum you have to work with and everything else. That's why virtual assistants.